Hi, welcome to the channel. I thought I would quickly pop on and give you a little update. I have a really sweet finish that has gotten some attention on the Stitchmania Facebook group and the Witchy Stitcher Facebook group, and a little bit on Instagram too. But it wasn't completely finished. Not completely. When I posted that image. So, I will show you the completed Freddie. Yay, Freddie! Now, there's more to this piece than meets the eye. Obviously there's cross-stitching. It's a Stitching Land pattern. After following the pattern of cross-stitching, I decided I would add in, let's get close, there's some beadwork there in his eyes, on his cheek, and in the stars on his hair. I also, and those are just silver lined clear beads, they're not anything out of the ordinary. This Q here, this is a little bit interesting. There it is. I took the stance that I wasn't really sure about that Q. I thought the portrait looks so much like Freddie that we don't need to necessarily announce that, you know, he is in the band Queen, he was the lead singer, blah blah. So I thought, what would I do to make this kind of my own and make this also kind of reflect Freddie somewhat? So I decided to employ some weird combination of skills. It's a combination of stump work and gold work techniques, believe it or not. I'll tell you about it in a sec. So, do you see how the Q, there's a Q on top of the Q? Because I cross-stitched it as the pattern dictated, but I've done extra things to it. Artistic wire is considered a craft wire because it's soft. Watch. See how you can bend it very easily? So there must be aluminum or copper or something very malleable in the metallurgical content here. And the Q, I thought, it looked like an emblem from a uniform, maybe? And I thought, that would be really cool if I could do something with the wire. And so anyway, I like to use this wire or a finer, even a finer wire. This is 20 gauge. Or what does that work out to? I think it's about 2 millimeters probably in metric. But anyway, 20 gauge in the imperial measurement. So it's a bit bulkier than what you would use for stump work. Stump work is more like a 26 or a 28 gauge wire. But I thought, I kind of like the chunkiness. I think that would look cool if I encased it as you would do with stump work, like here. This is a more traditional approach to stump work. I'm just using a little tiny hoop. But this is the same artistic wire right here. And I've encased it in buttonhole stitch like you would for stump work. Simple, right? It's buttonhole stitch over top of your wire. You're hiding it so that you provide support for your embellishment that will be sculptural coming out of your piece, right? I thought, why wouldn't I just do that with the wire in the shape of a Q? So that's what I did. I did buttonhole stitch with, there's two lengths of wire here. There's this one for the tail of the Q, and then there's one for the kind of round part of the Q here. So I buttonhole stitched it to the fabric. And obviously for more structure, that's why I put this extra layer of fabric back here, so that the wire had something to kind of cling to and give it a little more body right there in that one spot. So I did that, and then I was left with the question of tails, because that's a stump work thing. How do I get rid of the wire tails, right? You have to push them down and in, which is exactly what happened. I sunk them to the back, which is something you would do in gold work, because with gold work you're using gold, real gold. And I'm just looking here to see if, I mean, you can see that I covered one of the ends that I brought all the way to the back right here. Do you see that? That's wire. And I just happened to use some yellow, pale yellow thread to stitch down and essentially just couch it onto the back. And I did that with all of the ends. There's an end here, 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 and here. So I sunk those to the back. With difficulty. I'll admit it was not easy, but I did it, and stitched it all down. So I thought that was a really cool embellishment without really changing the pattern at all. But I thought that was neat, because it's sort of a combination of stump work and gold work, which I think is fun. I love combining techniques. It's really amusing to me to try and come up with stuff like that. Then, in case you haven't noticed, I did a few borders. I did a rainbow of backstitching right here. So I used, for the red and the orange, I used 3 plies. For the green and, for the yellow and the, for the yellow and the green, I used 4 ply, and then for the turquoise and the violet, I used all 6 plies. I just did a backstitch with each color. And to kind of make it lay in a more harmonious way, I staggered the stitch lengths so that it looks like kind of a bricklay pattern. It's a little more pleasing to the eye. If all my stitches were exactly the same, starting and ending at the same place, then you would get this weird, like, it would look weird. I don't know. It would kind of defeat the purpose of the handmade aspect of it. It would look like a machine had embroidered it, and it's kind of not the point. So that's what I did there. And then for another round, I used a really pretty color. I love this floss. It's straddling that line of blue and white. It's really pretty. And I did a cable chain stitch, so it's not just a chain, there's a cable, so there's like an oval with a little link in the middle, so it looks more like a necklace almost. It's a really cool stitch. Then I thought Freddie was extra, you know, that was sort of his thing. So I thought we can do another round. We can have another frame and close even more and get even closer to the design. So I took some purple jute. I bought this a long time ago. I think I got it from eBay. It's for like macrame. It's really inexpensive. It's a cool color. And it just happens to be purple, which is the royalty color. So I thought, what the heck? Let's use that. Now, I can hear it. I can hear you thinking, why? Why would you want to use this? Because couching is another gold work technique. You rely a whole lot on couching if you're gold working. So obviously can't really stitch with that. Not easily. And I don't know if very many people who have a needle that's this, I mean, this is thick. This is probably, if I were to try and put a wire gauge on it, probably a 2. Like, it's very big. Not easy to pass through any kind of a needle. So what I did is I couched it. I used all 6 ply of a very, very, very pale yellow. All of these colors, by the way, are colors that were in this pattern, and that's why it harmonizes quite well. So I took the palest yellow from the design and couched it. So the jute purple stuff got to be the couched thread, and the yellow is the couching thread. And I think it turned out really cool. I used all 6 ply from it, and I think it looks perfect. I think it looks just fantastic. Now, I can hear it again, like with the Q. You're going to probably be wondering what I did to the ends of the purple jute. Well, I used another gold working technique, and I lassoed the jute through to the back and stitched the end gently to some previous stitching. So there's no knot in the purple stuff, because that would just be too bulky. And I did that on either end right here. It's really easy. It's like a whip stitch, really, just to hold it. And because this is a wall piece, it doesn't need a whole ton of, reinforcing and all of that. But that's a common gold work method as well, for that very reason, because a lot of the metals you're using are just too thick. Like, you can't use them like a thread. So that's what I did. And then I just did the old cut and glue, because this is just a plastic frame and the tension is really good on it. So I thought I don't really need to do a gathering stitch, and I didn't have that much fabric around anyway. So I cut it, trimmed it as reasonably closely as I could, and then I just glued the even weave with some Maline's tacky glue to the inside. And what's so cool is with that kind of glue, it is so tacky that you don't have to like clamp it super hard. At least I didn't. I just like had to hold it for a little bit in each little spot and then let it dry, and it just dried like that. So I think it turned out quite well. I'm really happy with it. It took a long time to do, and yeah, I think it did Freddie some serious justice. So very happy with that. Yay! Freddie's done. I started him about 3 weeks ago, I think, something like that, and then I just worked on him steady until I finished. So yeah, about a month or so of work. And he's all finished. I'm really happy with him. So I thought I would share that with you, and I'm gonna hang him up somewhere awesome, probably on the wall behind me actually, because yeah, I love Freddie. He's the best. Miss him. Thank you for stopping by the channel. If you're new, please like and subscribe if you want to see this channel thrive. And I will see you next time. Bye. Hi. You want to say hi? Hi. Hi, world. This is Henry. Hi. Yes, everyone can see you now. Look at how sweet. Yes, you are. This is Henry. I talk to him all day long, 'cause he loves to yell. Don't you? Yeah, you do.